On your block in Wayne County, there is a massive project underway to reimagine I-375 in Detroit, but not everyone's on board with that plan. It would convert the Detroit freeway into a 6-lane boulevard, making it a neighborhood once again. However, a group of about 500 residents sent a letter to the mayor and the governor asking them to hold off. They claim this project would hinder the quality of life that they have and also have a negative impact on businesses in the area.
MDOT released a response saying, in part, MDOT has held more than 50 engagement sessions in the past year, including with local block clubs, businesses, and other project stakeholders to gather information on what they see as priorities. When the public said they were concerned with pedestrian safety due to the width of certain intersections, we listened, collecting and reviewing traffic counts, which resulted in modifications to the design. Joining us tonight to discuss is Carl Bentley from the Rethink I-375 Community Coalition. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. So this has been referred to as the Reconnecting Communities Project. When you hear reconnecting communities, that sounds like something most of the community would get behind. But where do you think this plan falls short?
Well, it's not reconnecting communities, it's disconnecting communities. You're going to put a 6-lane that was 10 in the middle of a neighborhood, okay, that's very walkable and very easy to commute through. Now you're going to have to cross, you know, the width of a basketball court, okay, to get from one side of the town to the other side. And you know, you take a poll in the neighborhood. I think there's quite a few seniors there, okay. They're not going to, you know, be able to get across that and the time that a light changes. So, you know, that's just one concern. That's one safety concern. There's other concerns that I don't think that have been dealt with associated with, you know, how those residents are going to get to the hospital, for example, okay? The rerouting is kind of taking away one of the exits, okay, for DMC. And there's been some studies that have indicated that that's going to be another, you know, 7 to 8 or 9 minutes for someone to get, you know, from the east side of Van Dyke and Jefferson, for example, okay, to a DMC. So there's lots of concerns, and our thing is we want the MDOT, the state, the city to start to come back and take a pause in this project. All right, and if it's a road project, let's call it a road project. Let's not call it a redesign. Okay, and we understand that the curve that they're trying to fix, 375 going into 70, that's a problem. We understand that, but let's not go with we're going to do restoration for Black Bottom. You know, all those buzzwords, and there's been no framework put around what that's going to look like.
You think they're taking advantage of that history there with the destruction of Black Bottom?
Absolutely, they're using it. They're just framing it that way, okay, for people to get on board. And I haven't seen a plan that's associated with what that actually means. That just has not been put forth.
Yeah, we've seen this before where homeowners are concerned about a specific development coming in. Do you feel like your voices are being heard and recognized in this situation?
Only after we've, you know, went out and got ourselves organized as a, you know, ad hoc committee, if you will, and started to, you know, get people to sign, you know, petitions and whatnot. I think they're being heard now. I think, you know, MDOT, they did hear about the 10 lanes. They did hear that. Okay, they reduced it to 6, so. I don't think they're hearing what, you know, the community's saying about the restoration, okay, as it relates to Black Bottom, as well as some of the safety concerns, all right? And really, what is that neighborhood going to look like now? You're going to have, I think, 40 acres of vacant land now. I mean, what are you going to do with that? I mean, what's going to happen to it?
So they heard you all enough to go from 10 lanes to 6. Are you hopeful that there's more room for compromise? And
absolutely.
What would an ideal solution look like to you?
An ideal solution would be, I think, for them to go back, okay, and take a real hard look at what the community is going to look like, okay, and start to show plans where there's real businesses, okay, and perhaps some of the black bottom descendants, okay, will have an opportunity for some interest-free loan to restart their business. You know, all of that, okay, should be talked about in order for it to be, you know, really, really heard, I think.
All right, well, we will be following the developments in this project. Thank you so much for coming. This is Carl Bentley from Rethink I-375 Community Coalition. Appreciate your time. I hope you'll come back.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And
Glad
thanks
to
for
have you.
hearing us.
Of course.
Yes.